the shocking completion rates of online courses. The average completion rate of an online course is 6%. Now, this is not just me, this is everybody. Everybody. The completion rate of online courses, I'll explain why I think that is the case. Now, if your goal is just to make money, who cares, right? Who cares? People have bought it. If they don't go through the material, that's on them. If they don't take the time to actually go through the course and implement the course, that's on them. And that's all true. But if one of your purposes is actually to make a difference to people and make an impact in people's lives, then this is a problem. This is a problem because 6% of people completing the course.
Welcome to the Mindset, Money and Marketing podcast, hosted by me, Dean Seddon. This is the definitive podcast to help you build your brand, win clients, and dominate your market.
Should you sell an online course? So in today's episode, we're going to look at online courses, whether there is the money in it. Can you actually make it passive income so you make money whilst you sleep? We'll also look at high ticket packages and see whether they're a more profitable option and talk about the pros and the cons of courses versus coaching when building your business online. So probably like me, you've, imagined the scenario of waking up to a phone with Stripe payments and all that stuff that you see online when people tell you if you build a course, you can make money whilst you sleep. And it is pretty alluring, it is pretty tempting. And back in 2012, I was going to get into this online courses game. And I saw it as a huge opportunity. But I had some personal hang-ups that made me think I can't do this and all that kind of stuff. And so I didn't do it. And if I had done it back then, I think I would have been very, very successful in that. But I didn't do it because my head and my bad thinking stopped me from doing it. So we're going to talk about courses. Are they really the magic silver bullet, or is there another way to build your business online? Particularly, I'm going to talk about this from the point of view of somebody who's maybe not starting out in business, but thinking about the online courses game. So it's true to say a lot of people on LinkedIn, online, have actually made a lot of money from online courses, tons of money. So there is a lot of money in that field. People love to learn more, and we all have dreams and aspirations and goals, and we all have obstacles stopping us getting them. We have pain points, we have challenges. And so an online course can actually help us bridge that gap and help people get an outcome. But there are some challenges with selling online courses. The perception is you basically film a course, put it up, and get sales on autopilot. And you do get sales on autopilot, but for many people, what they miss about this is that they replace the doing the client work, working with clients, with marketing work. So instead of you spending time face to face with clients, you actually go behind the scenes, and now you're running and leading and coordinating a marketing engine to get that course out. So the past few years, it's got easier and easier. There's platforms to build these courses. It's there. And the whole allure, as I said, work once and earn forever, is pretty strong. But there's kind of 4 challenges to building a course. And I'm not throwing courses under the bus because they can be helpful and useful. But there are some things that you need to kind of have a cold shower about before you go down this route. And if you don't think about these things before you film the course, you risk building something that doesn't sell, or building something that won't actually make you any money back. So in other words, all that investment, the thousands you might spend in getting help to build it, film it, you won't make that money back if you're not considering these 4 challenges of selling online courses. So the first one is the traffic. So you get a course, you've got to get people to buy it. And you've got to get people to buy in a volume that not only supports your income, but actually makes you a good, healthy profit. So you've got to get the traffic, and you've got to get that traffic to convert at a level that can sustain your business and grow your business. So there's two types of traffic. There's organic and there's paid, and all different things within those. But fundamentally, you either need to be able to organically pull a crowd to that course, or you need to pay to pull traffic to that course. Now, I'm parking affiliate marketing here, which is a great way to get traffic without any upfront cost. But most people who are starting a course will struggle to benefit from affiliate marketing at the beginning because there's no track record on the course itself. And so many affiliates will say, come back to us when you've got something that's proven. They won't want to be putting traffic to you without some kind of proof that you can convert it, because they don't make money if you don't. So with the organic traffic, that's much warmer, so you will get a higher conversion rate. But let's have a dose of reality for a minute. That conversion rate will be in single digits. So, if you wanted to sell 2 or 3 courses per day, you're going to need to get probably somewhere, I would say, in the region of 200 visitors or more to that sales page, or more, to make 2 or 3 sales per day. Now, some might argue it's higher, but my experience has been from my social media that actually I can get up to about 6 or 7% conversion from organic traffic. Now, it's a bit different if you've got an email list, a warmed up email list, that can be a bit higher. But again, we're not talking 50% conversion here. We're not talking 20% conversion. If we are really, really good, we might get into double digits just. So you need to think about, okay, how am I going to get that traffic every single day to get those sales every single day? So in a given year, we sell we have about, it depends on the year, because of obviously the pandemic has shaken things up a bit. But in 2019, we had 5,000 people coming to our workshops, public events, slightly different model. And then this year, I think it's going to be about 8,000, something like that, people coming. The conversion rate of people coming to that is, still in the small digits, single digits. So you need a ton of traffic. That could be social media. That could be building an email list and converting it from an email list, which does have a better conversion rate. But you've got to have a plan of how you convert that organic traffic and get it in a volume. And most people don't think about this. App developers, SaaS companies, tech people, course creators, most of the time what they do is they think about the course and not really think about, how do I actually get people there? So save yourself some time, some money, some effort, and go, how am I going to get people there first? What's the plan? And can you even do that before you've got the course? If you can get that level of traffic, let's say it's social media, you could be having that traffic now. Have you got it? You could start putting some testers out there to see if you've got it. Now, when we come to paid traffic, ads, sponsored posts, sponsored content, all that kind of stuff, slightly lower conversion rate, but obviously can scale. You're just paying for eyeballs. So you can scale that much bigger than potentially, and much more reliably than, say, posting on social media. But you take a hit on the conversion rate. Now, ads, Facebook, God knows wherever you want to do it, there's not, there's nothing wrong with doing this. A lot of the people, by the way, who've made a lot of money on courses have done it with ads, because they can have almost infinite scale. So they can get in front of more than enough eyeballs to sustain their sales. Now, the reality is that if you're going to run ads, they're going to need tweaking, adjusting, modifying, refreshing on an ongoing basis. Your landing page will need tweaking. So even when you've built that course and you go, right, I'm ready to sell, you are going to need to be able to test that and make a whole load of tweaks and changes along that journey to perfect that process, so that you've got your landing page, your ads, everything is optimized for the best conversions. Then you go to market and you're going to be spending money all that time before you've made any sales. So again, it's not to say don't do it. It's just have that thought process of going, what if I have to spend $2,000, £2,000 testing beforehand? What if I do have to hire some expertise in on the ads and they charge me as well? Can I afford that? And can I afford that for a period to get it right and make sure I'm happy with it? So traffic is a big consideration. Now, of course, most people will use a bit of both. But again, it reinforces what I'm saying is if you've been used to working face to face with clients or one to one with clients in some way, now your job is changing and your job is becoming, I'm now the marketing coordinator behind the scenes. And don't think, oh, I do all this once and it'll all take care of itself. Yes, to some degree, you'll do a lot of intense work and it will get a bit easier, but you are constantly going to need to be working on this to keep it going and moving and selling. So traffic. Then, of course, you've got the other part to this, which is there's significant investment. So, yes, the course platforms are quite cheap. Yes, you can film it yourself on your phone these days. Yes, all of that bit, that's relatively cheap. But the actual effort and time and budget that you're going to need to actually scale this course out is a consideration, especially if you're going to go to paid traffic. Or if you're going to invest in your own organic platform, building your personal brand, building that traffic organically, that's a time investment and a money investment too. And the other thing I was going to say, I've got another point to make before I get into the final one, which is the most important for me, is there are a gazillion courses out there. Now, your course has to have something different about it and something unique and something specific. If it is just another Facebook ads course or a how to grow an Instagram course, there are millions of those, thousands of those, bit of an exaggeration. How is yours going to be different? How are you going to, what's going to be different and unique about your course versus the 15 others that are in people's feeds? What are you going to do that makes yours a bit more different, a bit more unique, that it stands out, that people can see that your course is a better fit for them than somebody else's? You need to think about that. And I'll give you an example. I see often people, when I'm asking people, what makes you different? And this is not just about courses, this is just generally. They say, oh, well, we've got more experience. We're a great team. We really believe in our clients. And all of this stuff is nice stuff to say, but everybody would say it. Yeah, it's just so generic. But there's another part to this, and I fell into this trap as well. So when we do our workshops, we get feedback forms. And one of the questions on our feedback forms is, do you think that this workshop was good value for the money you paid? And, 99% of the time people say yes, and they'd be open to paying more for the workshop. And so we can look at that and go, yeah, our price is about right, or a price, we could probably increase the price a little bit. And our prices have stayed pretty much the same for the last few years. So we're like, we could put the price up. But there's a flaw. There's a flaw in that question. And the reason that question is flawed is because we're asking people who have come to the course. Now, what's the problem with that? They know what's in the course after they've bought it. So they are going, this is awesome. It was well worth the money because they've been to the course. The people you're selling to haven't. And so this is where you're going to need not just to be different and unique, but actually build up that social proof that stacks up to help people see that actually other people think this was a great course too. So you've got to put all that together so that you go, one, our course is different. Our course is unique. It solves a specific challenge and it does it in a way that's a bit different from others so people can see the differences. But those differences have to be evidenced before people buy the course. I don't mean just say we're different, we believe in you and the others don't. That's not evidenceable. So you need your social proof to actually back up that your course was different for your audience. So it could be things like maybe you do an Instagram growth course, but you do it specifically for a particular industry, and then you get a sample group of people who've been through the course, you give it them for free and ask them to go through it, so that you can get that social proof back from people who fit the target audience who've gone through it. And if you can get videos, that's even better. Now, I know social proof is a challenge because a lot of people don't like doing it, and it's hard to get it. So what a lot of course creators do, it's a little bit naughty, is they get other people who sell courses to go through their course and do a review exchange. So you'll see this, right? You'll see the videos, and a lot of the videos are other people who sell courses, and they're reviewing each other's courses. So the question is that legit? I don't know. Is it the best way of getting honest reviews? Probably not. I'm sure that there's a critique of each other, but the clips that get put out are the good bits. You want to, I wouldn't advise you to go down that route because it does feel a little bit scammy, but you do want to kind of get 10 or 15 people to go through the course, even if you pay them and say, what we want is honest feedback. And if they love things, you can use those bits and then work on the bits that they don't love, because you need that social proof that other people have been through it to justify that this is a fit for me. Now, the final challenge. So traffic was number one. The costs and time involved, number two. Saturated market, so you've got to differentiate yourself. The fourth one is something that nobody in the course creation world talks about, or very few talks about. And it's a big one for me because it pulls me in two directions. So it is the shocking completion rates of online courses. So the average completion rate of an online course is 6%. Now, this is not just me, this is everybody. Everybody. The completion rate of online courses, I'll explain why I think that is the case shortly, is 6%. Now, if your goal is just to make money, who cares, right? Who cares? People have bought it. If they don't go through the material, that's on them. If they don't take the time to actually go through the course and implement the course, that's on them. And that's all true. But if one of your purposes is actually to make a difference to people and make an impact in people's lives, then this is a problem. This is a problem because 6% of people completing the course, well, that means 94% of them didn't complete the course and probably didn't implement any of what you've taught them or any of the guidance you've given them. And for me, that is a problem because I go, what? How am I making a difference here? Yes, I want to make money, but I also want to make a difference. I'm not doing it just for the money. I want people's businesses to grow. Why? And this is one of the reasons why I don't sell online courses, because I was like, I was tying myself up in knots thinking, how do I get more people to complete these courses when I did? And it was like, it didn't matter what I did, offered free coaching. If somebody got stuck, we'd check in with them. It just didn't work. And I'll come to a reason why it is, but fundamentally you have to face a decision of, is your policy that people buy the course and if they don't complete it, that's their problem. But if they did complete it, they would get the success. In other words, it's the consumer's own fault if they don't complete the course. If they don't take the time to watch the videos and do the work, that's their own fault. I didn't like that, and I decided I wouldn't do just standalone. I mean, you can go and buy something from me, an information product, and it's there, but I don't actively promote them because I know how bad the completion rates are. So instead, what I did is launched group packages. And so instead of, yes, there's course material, but actually instead of just going, here's an online course, you actually get some coaching support built into it. And we're getting much better completion rate by doing that because we're helping people on a journey. But why do I think, or why is this completion rate so bad? Well, in academic courses, it's not a problem. Your classic, online, what do you call it here? There's a big institution, I can't remember the name, but the classic academic courses, one, they're a lot more expensive, so the barrier to entry is very, very high. But the completion rates are better with academic institutions. And I think the reason is they don't market them as hard. And by that, I mean, if you look at how most online courses are sold, they appeal to emotions, to dreams, to pains. And so a lot of the online courses that you see today are bought out of impulse, emotional reactions. They're bought from impulse. And so the reason why I think the completion rate is so poor with online courses generally is because if you sell it emotionally to people, so they impulse buy, when their emotions die down, they basically don't have, or many of them won't have, the same resolve, the same emotional motivation to actually get them through the modules of the course. And so the reason the completion rate's so bad is literally it's sold on emotion, and then the cold light of day, the next day, the next 2 days, the next 3 days kicks in. And this is classic, when people buy to fix a problem without actually taking the serious consideration of, am I prepared to do the work? You get the sale, but actually on the back end, you don't get the completion or the follow through. So, classic thing, if people buy on impulse, you end up where the follow through is not there. So, big challenge for me. For me, it is an issue. And I looked at that 6% and thought, how can I get mine better? How can I get mine better? And you either end up having to put some barriers in to stop people coming in emotionally, but then the challenge is, how do you sell it at the scale? And so this completion rate issue, if it's an issue for you, it also connects up to the traffic issue of, if you want to sell it and get the completion rates high, you have to control who buys it and make it harder for them to buy it, so that you get people who are seriously considering it and want to do the work. So the other thing as part of that is, and you'll see people talking about it, and they talk about losing their Stripe accounts and losing their payment accounts. They get shut down. One of the reasons they get shut down is because there is a high chargeback rate. Now, why is there a high chargeback rate? There's a high chargeback rate because sometimes your marketing can be better than the product, or you build it up to be something that it's not. And so people ask for their money back, and you get high chargeback rates. And I've never had that issue, but I'm a bit more level-headed in my marketing, which doesn't serve me well because I could be more sensationalized and probably make 10 times the amount of sales. But if I did, I'd deal with all the chargebacks, people buying things with unrealistic ideas of what's possible, and horrific completion rates. So these are real challenges that, you push the envelope on the marketing and it bites you on the back end, and your completion rates. And if your primary goal is to make a difference in people's lives, then you want high completion rates. So just think about those. And all of those four have to come together. All of those four have to be resolved before you go to market with that course. Otherwise, what happens is you stand around going, what the hell am I going to do now? And you have no idea how the hell you're going to sell it. Many companies do this, big companies, small companies, solopreneurs, and the small businesses and solopreneurs can't afford the time to figure it out. If you're a big tech platform and you've got money behind you and you've developed something, now you don't have a marketing plan to actually sell it, you can throw money at the problem to get it to be there. So this whole myth around passive income around courses, it is a total myth. And of course, it's very attractive to think about it and go, yeah, this would be fantastic. But there's continuous maintenance, there's regular updates, you got to manage the community, there's questions. tech issues, complaints, chargebacks, marketing. Marketing isn't passive. Yeah. Passive income to me is you do something once and it works and works and works and works, and you don't have to do anything. The only way that works is if you get a course that's so selling so well, you can just pay people to do everything, and all you're doing is paying people to make it work. That requires heavy amounts of investment. So have a cold shower before you start doing this. I'm not saying don't do it. This is the aim. I will show you what I think is a better way, but it's misleading. It's misleading when you see it and go, yeah, I've got a 94% profit margin or whatever. I saw somebody do this the other day. It was like, where's your ad budget? Where's all the back end office people that are working on it? It's not a 94% margin, because what they're doing is they're basically saying the cost of sale. So they're stripping out the payment processing fees and the platform fees, which are nothing. But marketing is part of the cost of sale. And so actually I would argue it's probably more like a 60% cost of sale and you're making a 40% margin. I know, for an example, there's one course creator based in Miami, and they sell their course for about $2,000, and they run ads and all sorts of stuff. And they do about 10 million a year in course sales. And something like 8.5 million of their revenue, so 10 million, 8.5 million of it is actually spent on ads. So what they've got is a 10 million pound business, which actually has a 1.5 million operating profit to actually fund their business, the staffing, all that kind of stuff. And that's nuts. That's like a 15% margin. So the myth of this big, huge profit margin, it's just nonsense. So all of that stuff eats into the profit margin. And when you get affiliates on board, they can obviously give you scale. But again, if you want to get the best affiliates, you're going to have to give a chunk away, which could be, 40% of your revenue. Now, where I think it's better, particularly for people who don't have the resource to throw at building an online course, they don't have the time or the money, is selling a high ticket kind of hybrid package. I do this. So instead of just selling a course, you have a hybrid kind of coaching and support and learning together. This, for me, has been better because we've seen way more success with our customers and clients who sign up. Because we can help them shape their activity and make a plan with them, we get to help them move forward. So instead of them signing up and buying a course, they're signing up to a program working with us, which is, in our world, is group. So we do some individual support, but a lot of the training and support is done through group sessions. Now, the advantage of this is you still get the free time, because you're not doing one-on-one as a service. It's one to many, but one to a smaller many. And you get more interaction with your customers. So that means you get higher completion rates, higher success rates, more testimonials, more reviews, the works. So what is that? Well, first off, it's much more expensive. So whereas you could do an online course and charge whatever you want, this has to be expensive. Has to be expensive because you've got to invest your time. Not to the extent of doing one-to-one client service, but you have to invest your time. So for me, I may have 5 or 6 one-to-ones in a week. I have a group session once a week. And sometimes I have an extra session if there's something topical coming up. That's generally what I do. And then the rest of my week is preparing, checking on things, doing slides, that kind of stuff. And that works really well for me because it gives me a little bit more time. And the margins are quite good and I can scale that. And now we've got a bigger team. Some of the, as we've grown and added more people to this program, it's the Social Selling Accelerator. We've actually got a team of people in our business who have experience that they can share with in different areas of building businesses online. So it is a higher ticket offering. So, it's just about to go up, but you can't get into our program for less than £3,000. We do some promotions every now and then, but generally speaking, it's £3,000. So there is quite a high cost because there's a lot of work behind the scenes. But here's the thing: if you're a small business or a solopreneur, actually getting to profit is much easier. So you know how we talked about the ads cost and the marketing cost and the traffic? You still need all of that, but you need it in far less quantities than you do to sell an online course at, say, $200 or $500 to make the same money. So in other words, think about it like this. You still end up on the back end of the marketing. Whichever way you do it, you still got to do some marketing. The difference here is success. For you to make good money from that program, and let's say it was £3,000 or $3,000, for you to make good money from that, you need 5 customers in a month. So a high ticket program, you might need 5 customers in a month to make, 15 grand. Whereas to make 15 grand from an online course, you probably need significantly more customers than that, way more, and way more traffic than that. So high ticket programs become more accessible to people who don't have huge audiences. High ticket programs become more accessible to people who can't invest the time in ads. High ticket programs become more accessible to people who are just getting going and perfecting the process because they can just work with clients to help them get there. So it's a better cash flow because there's less upfront cost. You're going to get a deeper relationship with the clients. And I've had clients who've referred me, upsold me because I've got a closer relationship. They've referred their friends in. And it's more predictable. It's much easier to go and get 5 customers in a month than try and get 50. It's much more reliable. And there's lots of different options open to you of how to get them organically. You can do outbound messaging, you can do content, you can do blogging, you can do all of it, but actually it's much more straightforward. And the other thing that's really interesting as well is because your price point's higher, a bit like we talked about with the academic, because your price point's higher, you get a more serious type of person because it's a significant investment. So they are going to think about it. So yes, you don't get that emotional kind of impulse purchase as much. You get more of a considered purchase. Now that can be frustrating because, you want people to just say yes and buy. And the other thing is you want people to say yes and actually buy it. And sometimes you get people who say yes and then don't follow through. But that's a good thing because the price eliminates the people who are maybe doing it emotionally most of the time because they'll cool off and then realize that's a lot of money. And that can be quite useful to you because then you're only getting people into your program who are actually ready to do the work. So I've had this when I first launched the accelerator, it's a few years ago now. I did it at such a low price point because I wanted to prove it. And this is a good example. This is a good thing to do is bring your price when you start something, bring your price down, gives you more comfort to deliver the work. And if you're in kind of testing mode, you can go, well, I know I'm not making money here, but I'm doing it to try and perfect the process. So I did my first accelerator program for about £500. And we got about 20 people sign up for it. And we had a good chunk of them who actually went through and did the work. But then we had another chunk of them where it was like they didn't show up, they didn't do the work, they said they'd been busy. And I got frustrated by that. But then I realized that the price needs to be a barrier for the people who are buying emotionally or on impulse and are not really serious about getting a result. And this is important because, if your business is just about money, you don't care about your customers getting a result or not. But if your business has a mission to it, if you want to make a difference, you've got to think about how do I help them get results? And that can be a little bit torturous at times because one person sometimes doesn't get a result and you put yourself over the coals over it and beat yourself up about it. It's very difficult. You can't have 100% success, but 6% success isn't good either. So if you want to go to high ticket packages, whether that's group or one-to-one, it's much easier for you to sell. Now, if you do have your eyes on a course, this is my advice to you. My advice would be that what you want to do is sell a high ticket package and get that working and making you money. Use that money to build your platform out. So if you're doing, I'm just making numbers up here, but let's say you did a high ticket package and you were selling roughly five of them a month. You're making 15 grand. Put 2.5 grand a month into actually building your platform, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. Build out your platform somewhere that will give you organic traffic and throw money at it then, so that in 6 months time, 9 months time, you've got a platform that you can go, right, how can I distill some of the key things from this high ticket package and then create a kind of course that people can do the course, or you can upsell them to the high ticket package. So distill a part of your high ticket package into a course so that then you could upsell those people from that course into your high ticket package too. So that's what I would do. The other thing I would think about as well is making your course quick. So something that people can go and do and implement off every lesson. So they do one lesson and they can see a result. Do one lesson, see a result. Do another lesson, see a result. That will increase your completion rates. But build your high ticket package and pump some of that profit into building your organic engine, or build the course and pump some of that money into ads so that you can actually build the course. So everybody wants the course, but if you don't have the resources or the expertise to build the course and know how to sell it, the best thing you can do is do the high ticket packages, easier to sell, on LinkedIn, all socials. Getting 5 clients is not hard if you have a process. And if you don't have a process, talk to me. It's not that hard to do that bit. Then use the profit from that to go, right, my long-term goal or my medium-term goal is, my short-term goal is get the packages making me money so I can put 2.5 grand a month into building out that platform that I need, whether that be a social platform, an email list, whatever you're going to do that allows you to then sell the course. That is the strategy that you want to follow. If you try and do it the other way around and you don't have the resources to build the course and market the course, you'll run out of money and that course will sit there rotting, catching dust. So you want to do it the other way around because that will give you a more effective strategy. High ticket package, 3 to 5 grand, get 5 of them going. It's not that hard to do that. Then go into the next phase. That is the way to do it. So that's my advice on how to do it. High ticket package should be in the 3 to 5 grand, 2 at the bottom end, right? So think about as well, what would be the objections, whether you're doing a course or whether you're doing a high ticket package. Write down every reason why somebody wouldn't buy this, because that's your copy inspiration, that's your content inspiration, that's your FAQ pages. Every reason why somebody wouldn't buy it, that will help you shape your whole course, and have an answer. And one of the things I've found about objections, which I think is quite useful for this conversation, is if you answer the objections before people ask them, you are going to get more success and more trust. So think about it like this. If your course is 5 grand and one of the objections is going to be, why is it so expensive? Right? Don't bury that. Don't duck that. Answer it head on. This course is not for everybody. It's a significant investment because the results, we only want people joining who are serious action takers. Yeah. The reason why this is a significant investment is because we're making a significant investment into you through the coaching too. We want you to be successful. So we have to allocate the resource to you to get you that success. Be upfront about those objections and don't hide from them. Don't try and duck them. If you're going to charge 5 grand, tell them why it is. and tell them why you've put it at $5,000 and why. Don't try and say it's not expensive, really. Say, yeah, it is. So an online course can work. I'm not saying it isn't, and it can't. But they're not. It's not passive income. It's not passive income, right? They're not necessarily the best route for every business. You've heard my opinion. I think it's better to do high ticket packages than sell courses when you've got the platform to do it. But you've got to think about, how do I get that completion rate high? Because of course, if you sell an online course and the completion rate is low, which is the average, you know, you've got to do something pretty damn spectacular to beat the averages. Because that says that everything out there so far has got 6%. What are you going to do to beat that? If you're mission focused, if you're cause focused, if your purpose is to actually get results for people, you've got to think about, how do I shift that? So for me, I went, yeah, I want to be part of people's success. So I'm going to involve myself in that success by doing some coaching, doing some support, being live and doing live Q&As and doing group calls to push people through that process to make sure they get the success. And you might want to adapt that too. Look at what fits with your business model that you've already got as well. What's the easiest to bolt on that's not going to be a distraction? Because the last thing you want is to go and spend weeks and months building an online course and neglect the business you've already got. And then you have to pull over there to fix things that have kind of gone wrong over there. So think about this. The online course isn't bad. It's not a bad idea. And if you can go into it with a clear head about what's required, you can make a lot of money. But atypically, you need money to make that money. An online course is a little bit like investing in the stock market. You need the money to do it, and the strategy, the investment advice to know how to do it in a way that gets you the biggest returns. You need that in place. If you're thinking about, the coaching or the packages or the high ticket packages, that's less marketing. And it's about you getting in front of a tiny number of people and being able to convert them. So I always say to people, go with that first, build the courses later. It's much more tricky to do the course unless you've got that kind of strategy in place, expert knowledge in place, and the financial clout to do it. So I'm hoping some of you, I've dissuaded you from building an online course, because it could be a bad thing for you. But also for some of you going into it, you might be seeing the difficulties right now and thinking, why is this so difficult? And comparing yourself to the ease, say, that you see online of other people doing it, or they proclaim that it's so easy. And you might be going, why is this so difficult? I've just given you the reassurance that it is difficult. And what you're seeing online is the ease of, oh, you can be out into market. It's all nonsense. It's all part of their marketing pitch. There is some challenges that you have to face. And for some of you thinking, oh, wow, I could actually launch a high ticket program, and that might save me a lot of effort and stress. And then I could build my course. I'm giving you options, because I see it all the time. People come to me and say, I want to build a course. And in fact, I was talking to somebody earlier in the week based in the US, and they were like, I've built a course. I was like, awesome, cool. How's it going? How long's it been out? It's been out a month. How many have you sold? 12. And I was like, yep, that's how it is. And this person was saying, oh, I'm buying a course from some other person who's sold a load of courses. They're going to show me things that are going to help me. I'm like, oh, no. Some people just shouldn't make courses because they're not wired to be able to do the bits. Some people are, but hopefully I've given you some things to think about. If you want to go after courses, remember what you need to get hold of. Traffic, either organic or paid. Email list is a good one. So you build an email list and sell the course from the email list. You're going to be level-headed about the time and potential money you're going to have to put into this to actually to get it going and selling well, so that it can support you and it's profitable. You're going to need to think about how you differentiate it, because there's a million different courses, how you're going to social proof it, but how it's going to solve a specific problem in a way that is different from the 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 others. And also how you're going to do something that helps the completion rates. How are you going to deal with that? Now, you may take the decision of, you know what, if people buy something and they can't be bothered to complete it, that's on them. And that's fair cop. But if completion rates are important to you, getting results for people is important, then you need to think about how do you do something that helps those completion rates. And we talked a little bit about that before. Because of course, the completion rates affects the number of testimonials you get, because you'll struggle to get the testimonials out. So hopefully this has been helpful about thinking about, should you launch an online course? Appreciate you joining me for this episode. We're going to be talking about other ways to build your business and make money over the next couple of episodes. So if you haven't subscribed yet, all the thousands of people who listen, thank you for listening. But go wherever you listen to me, hit that subscribe button, because we are going to start digging into different ways to make money and build your business online. So tune in. We're going to talk about, at some point, we're going to bring some experts in about affiliates and how to get affiliates to sell for you. We're also going to talk about the different business models you can use online in terms of email list building, the work. So do join us, hit that subscribe button so that next time the episode's there, you do not miss it, because this next run of podcasts are going to be flipping awesome. I'm really excited about them.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Mindset, Marketing and Money Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe so you get notified about future episodes.